We are live. Welcome to What We Watch When We Drink, a Booze Dancing Entertainment Network podcast featuring lively discussions about movies, TV shows, and anything else that we're watching while we drink our favorite boozy beverages. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Audible, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can also find us on boozdancing.com. And if you have any questions, comments, show or drink suggestions, email us at boozdancing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Gentlemen, hello. Look at that fancy new intro we have.
Wow, hello.
Wow, the guys in the video department really did their stuff.
Cutting and pasting? Yeah, that's
cutting and pasting.
The AV club. Really,
Dave's
right. I am the AV club.
Dave Cutting and Joe Pasting doing their work.
Would you like to join the club?
No, I won't. I don't join any club. They'll take me as a member. That's my rule.
That's right.
Go ahead. All right. The Booze Dancing Entertainment Network is live again, this time on a Thursday night. Yay! We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. The Gram. Drop those comments in the chat that you see, and we will get to them. Keep those cards and letters coming, and we will toss them away as we usually do. This is another podcast to be made. Tonight we're live, and then it'll be a podcast in a few weeks. This is episode 44 of What We Watch When We Drink, the unofficial podcast of the 2024 election year. That's right. This is the place to talk hot button issues, voting rights, ageism, whataboutism, gerrymandering, mainstream media, Joan Scarborough's hair, 60 Minutes, election officials, voter rights, the 1920 election, and poll workers. POLL, not POLE. That's a different podcast.
I like the other one better.
So stay informed with Booze Dancing. It's your country and your election. Don't worry, we'll have you moving to Vietnam before you know it. And we are on to episode 44 of What We Watch When We Drink. How are we doing, boys?
Doing well. I'm dying laughing here.
Doing well.
That was excellent.
You all right? You all right over there?
I'm okay.
It's an election year. I know there's a lot to laugh at. There's plenty to laugh at.
Yeah, it's a joke. That's okay. World's going to end anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. As long as it doesn't end in the next 45 minutes or so.
No, exactly.
Minutes. Right. Okay. So we've got another interesting thematic idea, podcast here. I think Mike was the one that came up with this concept.
Yes, we'll curse him when we're done.
We'll curse him when we're done. So it kind of goes back to our episode 43, which was about two different crime dramas, right?
Yep.
And this is about a current crime drama and its predecessors. The crime drama on HBO Max, True Detective, which is an anthology series, and there's been 3 other seasons of it. And we're going to talk about the first episode of each of these 4 seasons. Am I right?
Yes,
that's correct.
Right. So it's an anthology. There's loosely connected, and same original writer on the first 3 seasons, and all-star casts in every season. So we're going to break them down, at least episode 1 of each season, and see how they rate and how they compare. And we will also be drinking spirits, because that's what we do around here. Correct?
That's right. So here's the question. Why is episode 1 so important?
It's the first one?
But it sets the table, right? I mean,
it sets the table.
It's supposed to get you interested. It's
Yes.
like the appetizer to the big omakase dinner that you're about to have.
That's right. The very overpriced omakase.
Oh, it's 8 episodes, so an omakase is typically 8 to 10 courses.
True.
So,
but how often have we seen a show that the first episode sucks, and then maybe doesn't really get rolling or interesting until episode 3? You got to hang with it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's another aspect of this. Do these first episodes make us want to continue watching the show? Is it enough? Is there enough there for us to keep going? whether it's great or whether it's not a great episode. Right?
Yep. I gotcha.
Yep.
My thinking
All right. Well,
exactly.
so we're going to start with episode 1.
Season one.
Season 1. I'm sorry, season 1, which came out in 2014. Looks like. And before we jump into that, why don't we all take and pick a whiskey to go or drink to go with it. It
premiered January 12th, 2014. There are 8 episodes in total.
Got it. Okay. Are they always in January?
No. I think the second season started in June.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Mike, let's start with your season 1.
Well, I went with
Drink.
the character McConaughey plays.
Tim.
So I got a Nothing Fancy beer.
Oh, there you go.
Nothing snooty.
You couldn't get a Lone Star?
I couldn't find. I had this at home. I don't leave the house. I'm like a shut-in. I'm like,
neither do I.
He has a line in it where he tells the guys it's I'm going to go now, and they're like, no, you can't go. And he says, well, it's Thursday, and I'm off on Thursday, and it's noon, and I drink at noon on Thursdays. So we're going to drink. And when they send the guy out to get beer, he hands him the money, and he says, well, I guess you'll get it for me then. And he says, a 6er of Old Milwaukee or Lone Star.
Nice.
Nothing snooty.
That's right. And that's what you got.
So
That's
I got the oldest beer in America.
Is that right?
They're
What's the name?
Still active brewery.
What's the name?
What is it?
Yingling.
Oh, Yingling. Yeah.
No, how do you say it?
Yingling.
No, you don't. Yangling.
I call it Yingling.
Yangling.
Yingling.
Sure. Okay. Aaron, what do you got?
So I went by geography. This season is based in Louisiana, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the closest thing I had was Texas. So I have the Milan Green rye in the port wine cask.
There you go. But that's okay though, because remember what we learned in the episode is that, excuse me, Matthew McConaughey's character was originally in Texas.
Yep.
That's right.
So it's actually appropriate.
Yep.
So
now I would have if I had a bottle. What's the name of Michael McConaughey's bourbon?
Well, doesn't he do Wild Turkey?
Is it Wild Turkey?
Isn't he the Wild Turkey spokesman?
Let's say Wild Turkey. Sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I didn't have any.
I neither.
Okay.
All right. And Ange, what you got?
Me, because the show takes place and was shot in Louisiana, I have some SoCo.
SoCo.
Whoa.
There you go.
Southern Comfort. Now, here's the problem.
Nice.
I can't open the damn thing because this tiny little cap, and my hands don't get.
Where's your production assistant?
I may have to go get a pair of pliers. I don't know. I don't have a production assistant. I am the production assistant, but I'll get it open. I'll get it open. Talk.
All right. Well, cheers to all you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So, season 1, 2014. Angie, you still turning? You want me to?
I'm still turning.
Give some.
We can talk.
January 1, January 12th, 2014, pilot episode. Rotten Tomatoes score. There was no Rotten Tomatoes score. It's IMDb score of 8.9.
8.9.
Plot summary: in 2012, former detective partners Russ Cole and Martin Hart recap one of their very first cases together involving a serial killer back in 1995. This was filmed in Louisiana. So we have these two guys played by Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. McConaughey is Detective Cole. Harrelson is Detective Hart. And the story is told in the present, going backwards. We don't know why, but both of these guys are being questioned by police about this case that happened X years ago. And we hear their versions of the story mostly about each other and about what happened. And then most of the episode is a flashback to the actual crime that was committed. Right. right?
Correct.
And the crime itself is a dark, ugly, mean crime,
Ritualistic killing.
ritualistic crime. And Matthew McConaughey's character is seemingly new to this police force, and he's got a bent toward this kind of darker kind of crime. And he's a loner. He's kind of weird, and this is his kind of thing. Whereas Woody Harrelson's character is a way to go, Ange. We get that bottle open.
I think it broke.
Woody Harrelson's character is more by the book, old school. Don't get all weird and touchy feely with me.
Right.
And he's been there. These guys are partners, but not real close.
Now, what do they call McConaughey? What's his nickname in the
I
force?
don't remember.
The Taxman.
Oh, right, the Taxman. Right.
And they call him this because
he carries that big ledger.
That's right, that big notebook.
Notes. Right. And he takes very detailed notes, and he draws. He actually sketches out things from the
crime scenes.
Crime scenes, yeah. So it's them trying to figure out what how this happened, and really, it's our introduction to the two guys and their relationship, and how it might play out over a season. Right?
Yes.
What are you guys' thoughts on Harrelson and McConaughey?
Oh, they were great. They were really, really good.
It opens with them being interviewed 17 years later, and you see.
Is it 17 years? Oh, I don't remember.
You see him. Wow. McConaughey's almost like a derelict at this point in time, and
yep.
And Harrelson's an old, middle-aged at this point, fat guy, and you see them go back and forth. And when they're younger men, you see how the job probably wore them down, and they saw things they shouldn't have seen, and life kind of got in the way.
Right. Yeah. So it was 17 years because the murder was on June 3rd, 1995, and the Russ Cole interrogation was. You're right there.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. The interrogation was April 26th, 2012.
2012. So you get to see the back and forth jump, and a lot of times when you use these time jumps, they just don't make sense. And I thought this actually worked pretty well.
Yeah,
I thought it kind of encapsulated. They actually looked like they'd aged, where in a lot of these things they don't. They don't look like they age at all.
Yeah.
And I think McConaughey's character, in particular, was really well written.
Yeah, we don't know exactly where he's been prior to this. What kind of, I don't mean job-wise, but what he's gone through.
Right.
We know he definitely has an issue with alcohol. And
no judging. So
no judging.
Judgment-free zone.
No judging at all. And we know that he ends up not in the place we expected him to be. Yeah. He's probably not a cop anymore at the end here. And they're being investigated because there's some, we don't know exactly why, but there's some irregularities maybe with the case that they solved years ago. And
well, wait, one thing though, was it that, or didn't they come upon another murder with a lot of similarities?
That was related.
That's what it is. That's what it is. They thought they solved the case, and as it turns out, now they've found that there's been almost a continuation of this when they find another body.
Right. Yeah. Which McConaughey, being a what do you want to call it, a scholar of these kind of bizarre crimes, I think predicted that this would happen again. This is like, this was not a one and done.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, in this episode, we'll jump ahead in a bit. There are connections to this episode to season 4.
Yep.
Right. And we don't need to give it away yet, but there are connections. And it's an anthology. I don't watch a lot of anthology shows, but usually there's some recurring thing throughout. Right.
That carries through or whatever.
It carries through. And I'm not sure that you can say that about this completely, these 4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't
there
think
are
so.
little things, not big things, but there are a couple bigger things in this episode that connection to season 4, right? I really liked it. I thought, we probably should say, I assume the three of us all watched the whole series when it came out.
Yes.
Or at some point.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I really liked season 1. And this episode made me like it again. And I too liked McConaughey and Harrelson. They were great. It's hard for me always to get Woody Harrelson's Cheers character, get past that.
That's Woody.
Yeah, it's funny because someone else said that too. I was talking to a guy at work yesterday about season 4, and he said the same thing. He's like, my comment was, I think Woody Harrelson is a highly underrated actor.
Yeah. He is. Yep. And I think it took
really
him
good.
And it took him a while, I think, although, I mean, look at me, I'm just saying this now, to get past that character on TV, right? And he's done a lot.
Later?
He's done a crap load of stuff, right? And really varying things from comedy to non-comedy. And no more TV right after Cheers, I don't think. It was all...
Well, this.
But yes, I almost think
but that's it, though.
Correct. Yeah. It's all the movies.
Right. This isn't TV. This is HBO.
This is HBO.
No long-term series work. No.
Right. And opposite of that, I don't know that McConaughey did any television, right? He's a movie guy.
I don't think he's in TV.
So now they've joined forces, and it's a really good pairing. It's a really, really good pairing.
It is.
And watching this episode again, it made me want to rewatch the series. That season, I should say.
Right. Yeah, same, because I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't either. But the characters were interesting enough to I could jump into this. There's a darkness to it.
The other thing I like about it is the ancillary characters are all well acted and well written.
Yep.
So it isn't like they just went and said, well, we've got these 2 roles and then there'll be some other people in the background. And it says like, no, actually the rest of these roles they're really well done.
Yeah.
The woman that plays Woody Harrelson's wife in it,
Michelle
Monaghan.
I think she's great.
I love Monaghan.
And you have to watch the whole episode, the whole thing to see it. But
season.
I think she was really well written. The guy who plays their boss is Kevin Dunn.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Dunn.
I think he's a very good character actor.
He's great.
I think he's great in this.
Yeah.
Playing I got to go in front of the press. Oh, what do you got for me? How's the new guy working out? All the different things about, do we keep him? Do we cut him loose? This kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was kind of odd to me. One strange part of the story was it seemed like a really big police force for such a
really small town.
Yeah. And why are they doing a news conference? I mean, maybe the state gets involved to do it, but some little piece of.
Well, and I think they answered that in it when they said that what is the guy Jerry? Jerry's friends are coming.
Oh, he's the governor, right?
Right? He's like, who the hell's Jerry? And they're like, the governor.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I think you're probably seeing a crossover of, local municipal to county to city to state people involved in this. So the police force probably isn't all their police force. Yep. It's just, everybody's throwing people at this because Jerry said we have to do something.
Yeah. Before we run off here, the crime is pretty brutal.
Yep.
And
weird.
I sort of remember when it came out that was a big conversation piece about the show. This is pretty dark. This is pretty ugly. And the way they film that whole thing is pretty graphic, which now we don't think twice about, right? Yeah. That's like Saturday morning cartoon stuff now.
Yeah, they didn't pull any punches. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't. So I think 3 thumbs up from us, I guess, on that one, on season 1 of True Detective.
Yes. But we're not going to rate them till the end. We're not going to rate them all till the end.
Okay, we're not going to rate them
when we get to the final.
How's your drink, by the way? Mine's good. This port cask from Mallow and Green is just delicious.
Should have gone with the bourbon.
Yeah, I should have. I don't know if I have anything.
No, I'm saying I should have. I should have.
Oh, you should have.
I should have gone with the bourbon.
Yeah.
Not enjoying the what's that beer called?
Yingling.
Beer is very filling.
What's this?
Beer is very filling.
It is, and I've kind of been off beer. Not that I don't like it. It's just too much. It's too much. By the way, the SoCo, I know we reviewed it a little while back.
It's good.
It's not as bad as I remember it being kind of sweeter and more syrupy as a kid. As a younger adult. I'm sorry, no underage drinking here.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad. It's kind of
but now you cocktail and you throw a sugar cube into something and you throw some other bitters and things in to change flavors, and that's a cocktail in a glass. It's already cocktail for you.
It is, absolutely.
It's got it for you.
We've talked about this too. I think with Andre. That was my drink in college.
Was it?
I only drank that. I thought I was a big highfalutin drinker drinking SoCo.
Well, you were in college.
And I guess.
You could have been drinking Everclear.
I kind of recall, I could be wrong. I know there was an article that Chuck Cowdery posted about SoCo and its history. And I thought there was something in there that how it's changed. The flavors changed. They changed the recipe a bit over the years. And I remember it being sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not that sweet. I don't think it's super sweet. It's sweet, but it's not disgustingly sweet.
So is it? It's considered a liqueur, right?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's not whiskey. What's the ABV on that?
I don't think it's much.
30%.
Yeah, I think it's lower. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't have my.
It would be interesting to put into an old fashioned. I might have to.
I think it'd be too watered down.
Makes a nice Manhattan too.
Yeah. I may have to revisit.
I think it'd be too watered down, frankly.
That was my dad's. They don't put the other stuff into it to water it down. That was my dad's Manhattan. I think it's Southern Comfort Manhattan.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually kind of fascinated. How many bars still carry that? Just a reminder, this is What We Watch When We Drink, the live version, which will be a podcast before you know it on the Booze Dancing Entertainment
Before
Network.
I know it.
Before anyone knows it. Before you know it.
Okay.
We are live tonight, and we are going through the True Detective series, episode 1 of each season. And we are pairing with our favorite spirits to go with that episode, that season. So we are now on to episode 2. Season 2.
I got one last thing for the first thing.
Go ahead.
Woody Harrelson's character is trying to get Matthew McConaughey's character to open up. So they're driving everywhere together, and he tells them, tell me something, and he starts unloading, and then he stops and he says, "Let's make the car a place of silent reflection from now on," because he doesn't want to hear any more of it.
Yeah,
you know what that is.
You asked me to.
Careful what you wish for.
It's right.
Right.
Yes.
Careful what you wish
for.
Hey,
you should come over for dinner. That would be a great idea. And then he does, and it's not such a great idea.
It's a bad idea.
It's a really, really bad idea. Okay. Season 2. And
Episode
what
1.
should give us season 2? Why don't you give us a rundown, then we'll get to our pairings.
Okay. Season 2, episode 1, The Western Book of the Dead is the episode title. It aired on 6/21/2015. There were 8 episodes in total. IMDb score for this episode, 7.6 out of 10. Plot summary, it's just one line. A bizarre murder brings together 3 police officers and a career criminal in the corrupt city of Vinci, California. Filming locations, by the way, Ventura, Vernon, Fillmore, and LA in California.
All over.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's pick some spirits to go with.
Okay.
And you go first.
All right. So this one is, as the kids like to say, on the nose, if you will. What is the Colin Farrell character getting wasted on while he's talking to Vince Vaughn in the bar?
A nice blended scotch.
Which one? Johnny Walker Blue?
Johnny Walker Blue. Johnny Walker Blue. Johnny Walker Blue. So we got a mini of Johnny Walker Blue, which I believe we reviewed.
We did.
I think you guys did.
No, I did it with you. We did it over
Oh, we did. That's right. That's
a long time ago.
Boy, that's right. Yeah. Michael?
Well, I didn't have any John Walker Blue, but I got a Scotch because
Scott,
as he's throwing it back with Vince Vaughn's character, what does Vince Vaughn say to him? You know, you're supposed to savor that.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
I got a little single cast nation, the Daluane.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
So it's 55.6, and it's a 9-year-old. We reviewed it. I liked it. It's pretty good.
It is good. It is good.
And
Aaron?
with geography, my theme, this is all in California. So I chose the Lost Spirits Abomination, heavily
Oh.
peated malt, which is 54%. It is finished with late harvest Riesling seasoned American oak staves. So this was using the, I believe it's, I want to say it's Lagavulin spirit run through the Lost Spirits reactor to age it quickly in a couple of weeks. So that's made in California. So there you go. Cheers,
Nice.
gents.
Cheers.
Ooh, that's a burner.
There you go.
Okay.
Mm.
So another star-studded pack
Yes.
of folks. This has some, I suppose it could be true of many cities in America that are corrupt.
Every city in America?
Probably.
Hey, now.
And there's a city on the east side of Los Angeles area, I should say, town. And I don't know if I'm not even sure if it's incorporated, called Vernon, California, and famous for meat packing plants and fertilizer mountain, and has had much corruption over the years. And I think some of this story was based on Vernon,
Yes.
and that's called
That's a fact.
which is right.
Vinci.
Vinci, right? So that's one aspect. What's interesting about this episode, much like the other one, it's the first episode, maybe true of all these 4 seasons. All the star power, and you're making these folks meet to get together to solve a crime.
Right.
And here it's a little bit different because you've got the 3 different police.
Right.
Police.
3 cops.
Who seemingly have nothing to do with each other and now are coming together to figure out what's going on with we don't know that till later, but a larger crime and a death on the road. And so we have who are our 3 stars here?
So the 3 cops are played by Colin Farrell as Detective Ray Velcoro, Rachel McAdams as Detective Annie Bezaridis, Taylor Kitsch as Officer Paul Woodrow. They're the 3 cops. And then the crime figure in this is played by Vince Vaughn, who plays the character of Frank Semyon.
He's our bad guy.
Yes.
So I think it's really interesting this is our way of getting all these kids together for the big party, for the big
Right.
for the big series.
Now, there's a connection between Colin Farrell's character and Vince Vaughn's character. But that's about
Yes.
it, I think. I think the other ones are all kind of disconnected, at least.
They're
for now.
disconnected, right? And I think they just are. And we know that all 3 of these folks, and this is true probably of even the first season, and we could probably say this about season 3 and 4. All these cops have issues.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Many, many issues.
No, they seem fun.
So,
Sure.
And let's throw all the issues into one big blender and put these kids together and let's go solve a murder. And that's kind of what the case is here. You got 3 really screwed up cops, and let's go solve a murder.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Again, I love these 3 actors, these 3 cops, and Vince Vaughn. And I'm not sure I love their characters, but I love them. and it's hard to like Colin Farrell in
Hard
his
to
character.
like or not like.
It's
The
hard to
character.
like the character.
Oh no, yeah, no, he's bad.
And
Bad, man.
yeah, it's just, but he does the character amazing justice, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I also like it because it's California. It's Los Angeles. It's Southern California. I like that whole aspect of the show too. Some of it's a little bit kind of unbelievable. I don't know, this whole, whatever that casino thing is. I don't know. We don't really have a whole lot of that. There's a little bit of that here in LA, but it's not big, that kind of thing. But there's definitely some underground stuff going on, like every city. But I love the characters.
I did not. I did not. I thought that Colin Farrell's character was just too over the top. I don't see how that guy would still be on the job.
Right.
Well, that's true.
And the Taylor Kitsch character, how many more problems could he have?
And when he goes, when Colin Farrell's character goes to greet his son's bully and basically introduces himself as himself, I think that'd be the point to be like, you just told everybody who you are. You're definitely going to prison. You're not going to be a police officer anymore. You've accosted a 12-year-old or whatever they are.
Well, there's definitely some stupidity in the character.
Yeah, I just he didn't ring true. Where in the first season, while those guys had problems, I think they could function with their problems. This guy seems like he's just too much dysfunction. And the other thing which I thought interesting is in the first one, there's a bad thing happens, but there's no big bad. There's no supervillain. There's no, any of that. And in this, and only this one, there's actually the supervillain where Vince Vaughn's character plays the big bad. And I don't necessarily know that you needed that, It's like, okay. It's almost like you had like an embarrassment of riches where so many people wanted to be involved with season 2 and you let them all be involved. And it's almost like too many people got involved. For me, that's just the way I thought.
Yeah. I think
but the supporting cast were great, just like the first one. Kelly Riley.
They got, what's it called? They got Dan.
Kelly Riley, who's now on Yellowstone, playing a big role.
I didn't like her.
She's in this, and she has a bit of a role. David Morse, who I really like, he's in there playing Rachel McAdams' father. And then Dan's there, W. Earl.
Hey, question for you, Aaron. See the place where David Morse was? That looked like the place in Mad Men.
It is.
Is it the same place?
I'm 99% sure. What was it called? The Essence?
I don't know. Wherever he went to meditate.
It's in Malibu or someplace or someplace.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought it was the same place. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the criticisms of that season was it went too far away from the first season.
Yeah.
There was no connection, and it was a convoluted plot.
Yeah.
And you don't know that from the first episode because you're really just getting introduced to the characters. I don't remember it completely, the whole season very well. I do remember it not liking it as much as the first one.
Maybe it's. Could you say it was overwritten?
Yeah,
at times?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, on the first episode, I don't know if I can say that, but I think the season probably was. But it felt like there was a lot going on.
You just try to do too much with too many people.
Well, and it's even like some of the stuff that, like some of the lines Vince Vaughn would spew. They just didn't feel. I don't know. They didn't feel not natural, but they didn't feel real.
They weren't written really well. I think you're onto something. I think his lines were not written well at all. It felt very rote and not natural. Maybe not natural. It's just I don't know. It just wasn't written well.
Don't do anything hungry, even eat. What?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
And you want Vince Vaughn to have great lines because he can deliver great lines.
Right.
I
like Vince Vaughn. He's great.
I agree.
You know what it was too? He was like, he's usually like the fast talker.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
and
very
he wasn't
slow
a fast
talker here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, was he a slow talker? It was like
Yes.
killing me.
Yeah.
And the wife was sort of the same way, and she was
Yes.
just kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It felt almost like this thing with his whole storyline from the first episode. It felt like there's like, is the CIA involved? Is there a spy thing going on? There's foreign people here. What is this? What's this guy do with some murder on the road? It just seems so convoluted, maybe. It's so drastic from the first season. Completely different story. You've got 3 cops instead of 2. Do we need 3 cops? Could this have been done with 2?
And the one cop is almost a caricature of the bad cop.
Yeah.
Where you're
Yeah.
like, did you I don't know.
Well, and they're all kind of caricatures of bad cops in their own way. She's got her own issues, and her Rachel McAdams and
Her sister's doing like the webcam porn.
Oh my God, it's every cliche. There's a lot of cliches going on here.
And the father's a guru hipster guy.
Dad runs a cult.
Guy.
Sisters
It's a lot.
Webcams.
It's definitely a lot.
It is a lot.
But all that being said, I didn't hate it as much as I did the first time around. I was kind of almost like, maybe I want to give it a second try.
I was the same way.
Yeah, I think the difference for me was the first season 1. I wanted to watch the next one. Season 2, I would probably watch the next one. It's like, all right, I want to see what's going to happen, but I wasn't like, I got to watch the next one.
Oh yeah.
Where I think season 1, you were just sucked in. The 2 guys were so good together, and there's the whole back and forth was so good.
I mean, let's be honest though. Okay, if McConaughey was your partner, right, and he was spewing that nonsense when you're stuck in the car driving like an hour and a half to a murder scene, you wouldn't want to pull out your gun and shoot him. I mean,
the car is now a place of silent reflection.
Yeah,
I mean, he was great. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, come on, seriously, dude, you're killing me.
Well,
you're killing me, bro.
So let's we're not going to rate the episodes, right?
No.
Let's rate, but we can do this. Let's rate the cop pairings between the first 2 seasons. We got McConaughey and Harrelson versus these 3 in season 2.
Well, if you want to talk chemistry, McConaughey and Harrelson, and Woody Harrelson, their chemistry was instantaneous.
Hands down.
It was
hands
perfect.
down.
I mean, it was great.
It's
And
great.
And you know they might be brothers, right?
Really?
There's a joke that they might be brothers.
Oh, in the show, you mean?
No, in real life.
Oh, really?
I never heard that.
Brothers.
That's hilarious.
One of the parents was a bit of a gad about town, and I don't know whether it was the mother or the father of whatever, but
that's pretty funny.
Some discussion like, my parents have always said that I wasn't their kid, and
Tex and Texer.
They did spend time in your town in Texas. How about that?
Oh, that's by the way, funny. Speaking of McConaughey, you wrote a book, right? So I guess it's like his life story. I briefly listened to the audiobook, and he reads the audiobook.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's good. I got to say, it's. I didn't finish it. I got about maybe a chapter or 2, but he was really good. It was highly entertaining.
All right.
That's right.
He seems like a really cool dude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But the other 3 cops in season 2, you don't get that. Well, you don't. They only meet at the very end of the show.
Yeah, there's no real pairing yet.
Right.
But even in that brief moment and knowing what you know about him for the first 48 minutes of the show, you don't see that connection happening like you see with the first 2. It seems like, what's this guy's name? Nick, the writer?
Nick Pizzolatto?
Nick Pizzolatto tried to go 180 degrees from the first season.
Yeah.
Right? And let's just do whatever we did in the first season, we're not doing it in the second season. We're doing something completely different. Right. And to its detriment, probably, I guess we could say, I think. So any other thoughts on that season?
No, that's all I got. Well,
yeah.
Let me think here. There were a couple things. So there's a couple things, a couple clues we got. There's the high-speed rail thing. and apparently it's a $60 billion project that they're building, and there's like $100 million of federal grants with guaranteed cost overages, whatever that means. So I guess this is going to be ripe for some corruption.
No.
Totally. That never happens in public works projects.
No, not at
it'll
all.
be like it'll be like the Big Dig. That worked out fine.
You know what? It'll actually come in under budget, and we'll actually get all the money back.
And ahead of time.
And ahead of time. It'll be like in moments, not even years. Yeah. We are the kings of that in this state.
And there was just one more thing. Remember when he's on the motorcycle and he's got his lights off, and then he's, and then he finds the body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, what are the odds of him landing right where there's a body?
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, that was a bit of
as he's driving recklessly, flying down the highway.
Yes. With no lights on the Pacific Coast Highway at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
On two wheels.
That's totally believable. Totally believable.
Yeah, totally believable. Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
And there was one more thing with his character. He said something about when he was on like a tour of duty, but it doesn't sound like he was in the military. What was that company that during like the first Iraq War? That independent contractor?
Halliburton.
Yeah, it sounded like he was almost with like a Halliburton.
With a private security force or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, but that's all. Those are my
Blackwater.
That's it.
It's another one.
The Black Ops.
I was thinking BlackRock, but BlackRock's an investment company, right?
Yeah.
Blackwater.
Although they might kill people too. You never know.
Oh, they probably do. They probably do.
And they make a nice chunk of change on those government overages.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. So, okay.
All right.
All
righty. That was season 2 of True Detective. We are going to move on to season 3 of True Detective on the Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. What we watch when we drink podcast. Season 3. By the way, before we go any further, we don't do this enough. I want to remind folks to check out boozdancing.com for all the great content that is there. There are great spirit and beer reviews from my cohorts here, Michael and Angelo. They are at the murder table, and they record those awesome videos.
And so far, no casualties.
And so far, no casualties, no murder.
Except our livers.
But those are out constantly, 1 to 2 per week sometimes. Check them out on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and also on the website, boozdancing.com. Okay. Yep. Season 3. I want to keep saying episode. Season 3 of True Detective. Ange, why don't you give us an intro, and then we'll get into our drinks.
Okay, so True Detective Season 3, Episode 1, The Great War and Modern Memory, aired on June 21st, 2015. Also 8 episodes in total. This one gets an IMDb score of 8.5 out of 10.
Hold on there. This didn't air on June 21st of 2015. That's when the other one did.
Oh.
This aired on January 13th of 2019.
Oh. Sorry,
a long gap between the first two, which were back to back.
We fire the copy paste guy.
One.
Let's fire the copy paste guy. He's fired. Much like the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, he's out of a job.
There you go. Gone. Get to the.
Or was it the offensive coordinator? Which one was it?
Defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Out of a job.
Let's blame everybody.
100 points. My God, that's incredible.
Let's blame everybody because he was on the field. It was him. He was playing his positions.
It's a tough business, man. Tough business.
So 2019. All right. 8.5 out of 10. The disappearance of a young brother and sister leads to a frantic search, which will haunt one detective for the rest of his life. Filmed in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Directed by Jeremy Saulnier. And the writer, again, Nick Pizzolatto. So the cast, I guess the top 4 folks in this cast: Mahershala Ali as Detective Wayne Hayes, Carmen Ejogo as Amelia Reardon, Stephen Dorff as Detective Roland West, and Scoot McNairy as Tom Purcell. They're like the main cast.
Yeah,
for this one.
Okay, so before we go on, let's pick some whiskeys out, Mike.
Yeah,
or whatever drinks.
So. I'm gonna turn.
Reaching way back, way.
You can do it. You can do it.
Don't hurt yourself.
I'm going with.
Ooh.
because Mahershala is a bit of a fancy man. I think I'm going with this.
The
Why
Blantons.
is Mahershala a fancy man?
I think he seems a little better than the tip. He doesn't seem like a rundown guy. He
No.
seems to be
It's true.
Yeah, he's put together.
a little,
Gotcha.
a little better suited. Maybe he might buy a little better bourbon.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Ange?
All right. Well, the story takes place in Arkansas. I couldn't really tell what they were drinking on the show. So I perused what I had available, and I've got a 50 state blend sample from our dear friend, Michael Bloom of Chicago, Illinois,
Oh, yes,
who was so kind to give it to me last time I was in Chicago back in September. So I'm drinking that. So cheers to Michael Bloom on this one.
Cheers.
Aaron, what do you got?
Excuse me. I, again, tried to go with geography. Nothing from Arkansas, but I do have the Four Roses small batch. Kentucky's pretty close to Arkansas.
You know, it's funny because I was almost going to get that too.
There you go.
I almost went with that as well. So, but I didn't. I went with the 50 state blend.
You know, there's some sorghum in there
In what?
Sorghum.
in the 50 state blend.
Sure. Why not?
A little sorghum in there.
Will my gums be sore after I drink this sorghum?
They
If not, you can make
roll in.
baijiu with it.
Baijiu?
Baijiu's made of sorghum.
Oh.
So again,
Um,
in this, the supporting cast, one of the people interviewing is John Tenney, who I think is a very good actor.
Yep.
And the mother in this, Tom Purcell's wife, Lucy Purcell, is played by Mamie Gummer.
Gummer?
Any idea who Mamie Gummer is?
Nope.
Amy Gummer.
Mamie Gummer is Don Gummer, the sculptor's daughter. Any idea who the mother might be?
No.
Anyone?
Nope.
An actress. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's been nominated once or twice or 23 times for an
Meryl
Academy
Streep?
Award. Meryl Streep's daughter.
What?
Seriously?
It's Meryl Streep's daughter. Mamie Gummer is Meryl Streep's daughter.
Oh, really?
Holy fuck.
Not that she doesn't deserve the role and did do a great job playing the mother, but
Yeah, I
that's
gotcha.
who it is.
I
When I
had
saw the
no
name, I'm like,
idea.
Mamie Gummer. That's Meryl Streep's daughter.
I was just joking when I said Meryl Streep. I was going
That's
to.
Meryl Streep's
I should
daughter.
have said Sally Field.
That's
I should have said Sally
Meryl
Field.
Streep. Well, she and if you look at her at IMDb or any of these things, and you know that it's Meryl Streep's daughter, you force yourself to see the resemblance.
Yeah,
Okay.
She looks a little bit like her mother.
that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, I see it a little bit. I can see it a
So-
little bit.
Episode 1, season 1, we have we have a partnership of two big name actors. Season 2, episode 1, we have a partnership of 3 fairly well-known actors, right?
Mhm.
And another big star as a bad guy. Season 3, episode 1, we have one big star. It's a lesser known star as a partner and a big crew. I
Mhm.
think again our lead our writer director guy Nick whatever there's an attempt to be different than the last season and the
Right.
prior season. Now we have one kind of main cop. I guess Steven Dorff is a main character as well, but it's really Ollie's show. Am I
Yeah.
right? Would you guys say that?
Yeah.
Right.
And when you
Now,
have the luxury of having someone like Mahershala Ali on, you let him
Yes.
do whatever he wants to do.
Yes. The guy is an amazing,
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
Great actor.
one of America's
very
finest.
good.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yes. Similarly to season 1, this story is told backwards a bit from Mr. Ollie's character. What's the name of the detective? I forgot.
His name is Wayne
Detective-
Hayes.
Wayne Hayes. Detective Hayes is being interviewed for a book, right?
It was a crime, like a detective show,
Yeah.
Oh, detective
crime
show, right.
series.
Correct.
Like
That's
an
it.
America's Most Wanted kind of thing.
Yes.
Something like that.
And he's remembering things from his past, and he's remembering the crime, the would-be crime here, and as well he's remembering being interviewed about the crime 10 years later by the. Is it 10 years later? By the
Yeah, I
cops?
think so.
Something like
I
that.
think, I think it's more than that.
Is it more?
More than that.
But he's like, yeah, he like Harrelson and McConaughey being interviewed about this case
So
years later on.
for the timeline, it was 1980 was the original crime where the
Okay.
two kids disappear. Then they reopen it 10 years later, and then they're doing the show, which is called True Criminal, where he's being interviewed in
Got it.
2015.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
like 35 years after
Right.
the
So
original
it's
thing.
1980, 2000,
10 years later,
1990, and then
90, and then 2015.
2015.
It's you see the effects of time on Mahershala Ali's character.
And memory.
Yes.
because he's
Where
starting to
he
lose it a
now-
little bit.
Yes.
Doesn't have the memory, and life's again gotten him down a bit. And
Yep. And so that is a connection to the first season, where at least the storytelling method of telling the story from memory of the two cops in the first season.
I think that's a watch.
What?
That noise you're hearing, I think that feedback is a watch.
A watch?
A watch?
It sounds like the second hand on a watch.
I don't hear it at all.
You don't
Huh.
hear it?
Uh-uh.
We
Or
sure
like
don't
a
hear it.
clock hand or something. It's too rhythmic to be anything.
You think?
Interesting. Hope it's not a bomb. Another bomb threat for boozdancing.com. This is like weekly for
But
us.
whose watch? I mean, I have a watch, but my watch
I
is
don't-
now not on
I
anymore.
have no watch.
I don't know. Is there a clock somewhere around or anything? No.
I have a clock in here, but it's not ticking. I don't think.
I don't know. So apologies for the background noise, people.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I don't know what that is. We'll edit this out. We'll clean this up in editing.
No,
Hey,
those days
hey,
are gone.
No way it
Those
happens.
days are long gone. Long gone. Anyway,
Anyway,
So we don't really have a huge cast to talk about on the star power side.
No, not
Even
really.
though Stephen Dorff is pretty good, and the ancillary characters are actually really good. They're
Yeah.
not those big names.
right.
Small town crime. A couple kids go missing. Big, where we go. Let's look everywhere for these kids. Who might have seen them last. The parents are barely married, got their own problems in this small town, and let's try to find them. And the two detectives, get a couple leads. They find. Okay, we're gonna skip back to the first season. The ritualistic killing that we see in the first season. There are some connections in this season as well with some of the clues to that first season's killing. And you know that it might get a little weird. And Mr. Ollie I think he's called what does his partner call him? He's like a bloodhound. Bloodhound? What does he call him? Bloodhound?
well, yeah, because they said when he was in the army or whatever
Yeah.
he was in, because he was in Vietnam,
there was a term. A LERP. That was it.
he was a long-range reconnaissance scout, I guess.
Right. So he
They
was
would
a,
just,
he was a
drop
guy
him
who
into
would
the jungle, and he would go out
He's a
there.
tracker.
find
Yeah.
his tracker. Correct.
He's a tracker.
And that's his special power. And he ultimately finds one of the kids, right?
Yep.
And some other clues that sort of are related to the first season episode. It's dark, of course.
Yeah.
It's not some weird crime of graft in the big city. This is a small town thing, and it's probably going to get darker and darker. You can kind of feel it. But initially, it's introducing us to Detective Hayes and the great acting ability in 3 different ages
Yeah.
by Mr. Ollie. Right.
Which they did a really good job with that.
I think
know,
it's
'cause-
amazing.
Because he was, I mean, it's 35 years. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
That's
and,
right.
And again, the flash forward, flashback, and everything, they did an outstanding job, similar to the first year.
Yep.
Where
And
these
they
guys look like they aged. They don't look
And
like the same guy with the wig on. They
No.
look like that
Right.
guy if he's 35
And they
years
didn't
older.
use, and there's no CGI. This is
Yeah.
not this thing
Yeah.
with De Niro,
Yeah.
whatever that's called.
They didn't
um,
de-age anybody. No.
De-age him, right? It was this is just
Yeah.
well done costuming, cosmetics, and
Makeup.
and his and makeup and his ability, and you see his aging through these 3 different times in his life. It's really great.
And
really
you
good.
see him as an older man who now has some memory issues, and he convincingly played an older man with memory issues. He
Yeah.
looked like he was 70 something and
Yeah.
didn't know much about nothing.
Yeah. I wonder how he
good.
researched that. I wonder if there
Yeah,
was
it's good.
family members that he was thinking about,
It was
or
really well done.
yeah, it was really well done. Definitely an episode that made me want to revisit that season, if only for him.
And I think similar to the first season, it made me want to watch what's next.
Mhm.
Not it was like, oh, I'll watch what's next. It's like, no, I gotta watch the next one. I gotta see what the next one is.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked this. I like the Arkansanian landscape, the caves, the hillsides.
It's near the
really-
Redneck Riviera, man.
Totally.
Ozark?
Totally.
We're in Ozark
Yeah.
country.
Ozark. This is totally Ozark, right? It was really cool him digging around and finding, just goes off on his own. You know, look, this is pre-cell phone. This is all walkie-talkie stuff, and he's out there roaming around and finding clues and finding a body.
Yeah.
Really good, really good. Other thoughts, gents?
I like what's his name? I like Scoot McNairy. He's really, really good. He's a really
the
good
guy
actor.
that plays the father.
Yeah, he pops up in a lot of good shows. Did either of you see Godless?
No.
Yeah.
He was really good in Godless.
Yeah.
There was another show called Halt and Catch Fire, which was kind of about the making of the the personal computer. Almost like a Dell story, I guess.
Yep.
He was great in that too. He was really, really good in that.
Yeah.
So Scoot's really good, and he pops up every once in a while, and it's like, hey, it's Scoot.
Yeah. It's kind of a simple story. In the first episode.
Yeah.
We're not. It's just missing kids.
Right.
Find them, and he's telling the story backwards. And it's not real complicated, but it's setting you up for the future, and this aging man, this middle-aged man, this young detective, and him, and what having this. Not we're giving away much here. That the crime is will get more complicated, and the investigation will get more complicated, and this man is seeing it through 3 sets of eyes, right? It's really, I think it sucks you in really well without being really complicated.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Liked it a whole lot. Last thoughts on it on season 3?
No, it was good. I don't remember if I don't know if it what's the word, stuck the landing at the end, but I remember liking it a lot more than the second season.
Yeah.
So, all right, you want to move on to the last one?
Season 4, again, Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. What we watch when we drink. We are going to season 4, which just recently came out on the Max. This one is, we can probably say, we are about when we're recording this, we're a couple episodes to go in season 4, right?
I think the last episode aired. It's only 6 episodes this season.
Oh, 6 episodes. So
I think it airs this Sunday.
Coming Sunday. Okay.
I'm behind, so hopefully maybe I'll catch up. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ann, why don't you give us a rundown?
Okay, so it's True Detective season 4, episode 1, Night Country Part 1. So not a big highfalutin title like the other ones. Aired on January 14th of this year. 6 episodes in total. 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Plot summary: in Ennis, Alaska, the men that operate a research station vanish. To solve the case, Chief Danvers and Navarro Navarro will have to confront the darkness themselves and dig into the haunted truths that lie buried under the eternal ice. This was filmed in Iceland. It's directed by Issa Lopez, The writers for this episode were Nick Pizzolatto and Issa Lopez. Let's see the big stars in this one. We got Jodie Foster as Liz Danvers. She's won an award or two, right?
She's kind of famous.
Yeah, kind
Never
of.
heard of her. I think
Yeah.
she's new.
Maybe. She's only been around for a little while. Callie Reese as Evangeline Navarro. Callie Reese is apparently a world champion boxer, by the way.
Yeah, I would not mess with her.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Fiona
mess with Jodie Foster either, but I would not mess with her.
No, I would not. Fiona Shaw as Rose Aguino. I guess that's how you say it. Finn Bennett as Pete Pryor. Isabella LeBlanc as Leah Danvers. John Hawkes, who was what? He was Star on Deadwood?
Yeah.
He is Hank Pryor. So Peter and Hank are father and son. And that's really, I mean, there's a bunch of other people. I don't really know who they are, but that's kind of like the main group.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So let's dig into our whiskeys. Where do we
Yes.
start?
Mike, you're up.
I just grabbed the Nelson Brothers.
Hey, the Nelson Brothers.
Figure if you're in Alaska, stuff's getting imported to you. You're going to find something. They're going to send it to you.
Okay.
Ange?
Well, this is kind of indirect. This is more about where it was filmed than about the actual show. So it's filmed in Iceland. So Iceland's kind of Scandinavia-ish, right?
Akavit?
Sort of. I got some akavit. I got the ski kluben
Oh, nice.
from the
Ski
fine
Kluben.
folks at Tamworth Distilling. A,
That's-
because I like to say ski kluben. And B, because I like to say akavit. And also, you know, my son just went skiing in the White Mountains. So
Oh, there you go.
it all
There
kind of
you go.
works.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mine is Alaska adjacent. The show is allegedly in Alaska.
Allegedly.
I have the Two Brewers single malt from the Yukon, which
Hey,
is
there you go.
right next door to the to Alaska,
Close
and
enough.
close enough, 46% single malt.
Bravo.
Canada?
Canadian in Whitehorse, Yukon. Whitehorse,
Canadian.
Yukon.
Ski kluben.
Single malt.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's nice.
I like the ski
Pardon,
kluben. It's
pardon
good.
our audience. Pardon our audience. We are drinking. That's way more important than talking at the moment.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
So we do what we drink when we watch. Okay. So
It's the other
there's
way
a
around.
lot going on in this episode, season 1. I rewatched it. I'm watching the current season. I think you boys are too. And I rewatched the first episode for this podcast because I'm pro. And we talked about this before we went on. There's a lot going on in this episode. You're introduced to a lot of characters, and there is a complicated story, a complicated beginning. There is Native American stuff going on. There is kind of some maybe we don't hear it in the first season. There's some police work that is being kind of swept under the rug. There's a lot happening here, and plus you've got all the characters and a very ritualistic crime, and there are connections to the first season, very direct connections to the very first season of True Detective, in more than a few ways. So I think when I watched it the first time, I wasn't that excited about it. I was not so enthralled. I was a lot more, maybe because I've watched 4 or 5 episodes now, but I was more interested in this first episode after rewatching it. Maybe because I know more of the backstory, but characters are really great. I think a couple of them are really great. A couple of them I could throw away. I'm not a huge fan of Miss, what's her name? Jodie Foster. Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm a big fan after this of Jodie Foster. It's great to see her on TV, but I think there could have been other people that did the same character. I think
Clarice.
Yeah.
Clarice.
So I don't know. I'm torn with her, but I think I liked the episode a lot, and more so when I watched it the second time.
Yeah, same.
You know, I saw something about Jodie Foster, and she said that Anthony Hopkins will walk up behind her and call her Clarice and make that sucking sound that he does. And she said,
Still to this day.
And she said, and it still terrifies her. Just
When they're picking up half gallons of oat milk at the Whole Foods in
hello, Clarice,
in Beverly Hills.
That's funny.
Because they run into each other all the time.
Her. I think she's a great actress. I think she's one of those underrated people.
I guess she is underrated in a lot of ways.
And I think she chose to get behind the camera.
Yes,
and
that's
that
true.
Probably limited her exposure to people. So I don't think people realize how good an actress she is.
Yeah,
because she just doesn't have a big long list of stuff she's worked on. She just doesn't,
and not. She's had these periods where she doesn't act at all for quite a while, right? And when was the last time we saw her in something? I can't remember. And then she comes to television. So I think she said was it the Emmys or the Golden Globes? It's the first time she's been in a television show since The Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Oh
my God,
it's 50 years.
I think it was 50 years. 50
years or more. 50 years.
So, and it's good for her for come as everyone does. They all come back to TV.
Yeah, come crawling back.
Come crawling back. Yep. They hated it when they.
You think you're too big for this?
We're gonna go make movies. Guess what? You're coming back. I see Meryl Streep is coming back to Murders in the Building. I saw that she's coming back for next season. So yeah, she's coming back too. Anyway, so Ange, what are your thoughts on the episode?
I liked it better the second time around. I definitely did. I actually liked Jodie Foster's character better the second time too. I thought it was.
I did too. Yeah.
You know what? I thought she was pretty credible. I think she was a pretty credible cop. She was more credible of a cop as opposed to maybe. While I like Colin Farrell, it was more realistic. Jodie Foster as the detective, as Colin Farrell, like you said, Mike, as the
too over the top,
unhinged to like the nth degree cop,
just too over the top. Yeah. And I like that she's in a small town and knows everybody and everything, and just like you'd expect in a small town.
Yeah. Well, like even like when she runs into that when that woman like almost hits them and winds up hitting the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus Christ, you again? My God, I thought we took your license away. What the hell are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. It was very, it was very realistic. There is one thing though, and I think I said this before when I was watching one of the episodes. When she starts yelling, when she's all pissed off and yelling at somebody, she sounds just like Calamity Jane in Deadwood.
It's funny.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
She sounds just like Calamity Jane in Deadwood. And what I like about it in later episodes, not to give any spoilers away, she's yelling at what's the actor's name? John Hawkes, who played Star on Deadwood.
Yep.
That's right.
So that was
got yelled at by Calamity Jane, right?
Well, she yelled at everybody. So she's Calamity Jane. So anyway.
It takes a while for it to happen, but the cop pairing happens towards the end in this first episode of Navarro, Kaylee Reese, is that her name? And Jodie Foster's character, Danvers. We don't know exactly, but they had some prior history. We find out more later on.
Right. They had a connection, but they're reconnecting.
They're reconnecting in this.
Because Reese now works for the Alaska State Police.
Yeah.
Correct. And so now works for a different entity, but they come together to figure out this weird
disappearance.
Disappearance, and also this weird ritual. Well, we don't know what it is in this first episode. Weird murder or death of 4 or 5 scientists from this research institute that is in Alaska at the top of the world.
Salal, is that what it's called?
TSALAL. Oh, that's right. Yes.
Salal. It's like Arctic Research Center.
And that's how the episode starts, with these folks at this research center who live there, forever, researching ice and the origins of life and and what happens with climate change. And out of the blue, a bunch of them were found in the ice. All of them, I guess, except one. They're all found dead in the ice outside somewhere on the glacier, in a very odd pose.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of weird stuff. Like even like
There's a
the
lot of
opening
weird
scene. Well, like the opening scene where that guy, I guess, I don't know if he's, I guess, what is it, Inuit? Is that what you would call him?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, and he's out hunting those. What is he, elk? Is it elk or reindeer?
They suddenly turn,
and they run off the cliff.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
Yeah.
Right. We have no idea why, and that's kind of like a little bit of a mystery. So there's like all these little things, and then they say she's awake. Who is she? At the research center.
Yeah.
I think the one guy said, "Oh, she's awake." Well, who is she? We don't know that yet.
And the Kaylee Reese's character is driving through town. And there just happens to be a polar bear wandering through town.
Yeah, what was going on with one eye? Don't forget the one eye.
Only one eye. And you're like, what is that about?
And Jodie Foster's character has that stuffed polar bear with like an eye removed. Is Aaron frozen or is he just like listening? Is he frozen? Oh wait, did what happened in season 4 just happen here?
No, I think he's been pulled into the ice. Oh my
God! Well, we got to go find him on the ice.
Do we? Do we got to go find him?
I think it looks like his Wi-Fi went out. We got a problem. He'll be back. Oh, we can keep talking. But yeah, there's a lot
he's too big for television.
He's going to go do the silver screen.
He's going to go. I'm leaving the little box.
He's our David Caruso.
Yeah, I think so.
Hang on a second. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah, I thought again, I didn't like season 2 because I thought there was too many people going on.
Okay.
And in the first season, they're paired immediately.
Right.
In the second season, they're paired immediately, or the third season, they're paired immediately. And in this season, they get paired obviously towards the end of the first episode.
Right.
But I like it better when there's just the two, and it's you can build more believable characters, I guess.
Yeah.
Without it having to be so over the top.
Looks like his provider. Guess who's not going to be a future sponsor of this show?
Not a future sponsor?
Yes, Spectrum Cable, not going to be a sponsor of this show.
He should pay his bills, really, is more than anything.
Maybe. What other thoughts you got from this season, from this episode, I should say?
I thought the interesting thing in all of these is there'll be some younger police officer who will assume something is cut and dried, and the grizzled veterans that are starring in this will point out how horribly wrong they are. And it carried on through all of them, and into this one it was the same way, where they said, well, they've only been gone a little while. Look, they just made a meal, and she opens the sandwich to say, those processed meats, they're good for forever, but mayonnaise, at least 48 hours. These people.
And how did she learn this? Because her daughter would leave the sandwich in the backseat of the car.
Exactly.
Right.
Where you would go through, and you're like, but it's always, some young person will be like, oh, this is clearly what happened. No, au contraire.
By the way, the young cop, he looks like a young Matt Damon.
He does.
Yeah, I can see that.
He does. Yep.
Maybe they de-aged Matt Damon for this, and he's doing it under he's hit hard times. He's doing Dunkin' Donuts commercials, so I'm not really sure.
That's right.
She's definitely got that old school detective ability, to see things that are out of place, not right.
Just when she turns off the TV. Where they go and the other police have just hung a sheet over the television.
Ferris Bueller, yeah.
Well, we can't find the remote. We can't turn it off. We can't turn it off. And she just taps.
We tried that. We tried that.
Okay, here we go. It's right here.
And she finds
this is how we turn off a television. Just in case anyone's wondering.
She can find the door that opens, and no one else.
A little effort, kids. A little effort.
No, we've exhausted ourselves. We've done so much. We just can't do it.
The tongue on the floor. Why is the woman's tongue, and why are there lines in it?
Do I get overtime? Am I going to get paid overtime for this?
Yeah.
Damn kids. No commitment.
I was excited about this show because It's set in Alaska. I love that.
Uh-oh.
He doesn't love it that much.
Yeah, I love that.
He loves it.
He froze again.
If only we could go and make him say things now. If we could,
Oh, you know
maybe
what?
AI him.
Maybe that cricket will jump into his mouth and we'll just
He
watch
could
that
burst
happen.
into songs.
Telling you, there's a cricket. There's a cricket.
I think it's too rhythmic to be a cricket. It never stops.
Maybe he's got a lot of crickets.
It sounds like the second hand on a watch.
Yeah, but it's not. Notice how it stopped. Do you hear it now?
Well, no, because it's coming from him.
Right.
It's somewhere with him. So I don't know if he's got like
but much like you, he doesn't wear a watch.
Yeah, but maybe he's got a clock hanging in his little garage or something. Or
I don't know.
Maybe it's the timer for his phone. He has it set to a regular clock.
I don't know.
Who knows?
But
anyway,
yeah.
Go ahead. I really am intrigued. Again, first season 1, season 3, season 4. See the episode. I really want to see what happens next. Season 2, I'll see what happens next. It's just okay. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you were the same way or different, or if you
with season 2. Season 2, no, season 2 was kind of frustrating. I stuck with it because
the first episode. And that's the thing. Like, I stuck with it. Like, I didn't have to stick with season 1 or season 3 or season 4.
Right. Did you get that cricket out of your mouth? Did it jump in?
I don't know. Dang.
All we saw was this, and then it just stopped.
I thought the polar bear got you. I didn't know.
Magic of the internet.
Yeah, what is up with the one-eyed polar bear, stuffed polar bear, and then the real polar bear? Interesting.
I don't know.
I guess I got to go back and I got to keep watching.
More of these.
And did she really see the polar bear?
Right.
Because that other person saw a person walking barefoot with no Travis across the tundra.
Travis. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Travis, remember when she walks out to the ice, when Fiona Shaw's character walks out to the ice and sees the guy like doing the weird rhythmic dance or whatever? It totally reminded me of Twin Peaks.
Yes,
very much.
It was like Twin Peaks, and it was like Killer Bob, the way he was like kind of dancing like a little crazy.
So I think there's a little bit of Twin Peaks ishness to this whole season.
Yeah.
Because of where this is being filmed, supposedly being filmed or shot. I think you've got this whole mysticism of the Inuit world. There's a lot here, and it almost, when you describe it, it's almost, this is too much, but it's not. Well, it isn't. It isn't. The season's gotten better. The first episode, you're introduced to so much stuff that it's a little bit overwhelming, I think. I'm glad I hung with it.
I just had a thought. You know what would have been a good pairing for this? For booze?
What?
Bailey's. Remember she
Bailey's?
Bailey's in the guy's gas tank.
That's right.
One of the, who does it? It was what's her name? It was the Navarro, right?
Navarro. Yeah. They're walking by her, and one of them is talking about, being mean to a woman, basically.
Right.
And how is she going to get back at him? And one of her, before that, someone says about her that she's like about women's rights and women empowerment.
Wait, wasn't that the guy from the arrest? The guy that was at that.
And it's the guy from the arrest.
It was the same guy, right? Because she hit
in the packing,
right?
Whatever that seafood factory is.
Did you hit him with a bucket? Did you hit him with a bucket?
So great.
I hit him with a bucket.
The whole thing about that this is all under darkness.
Right.
Right. There's this
and that
number of days.
Was the thing that one guy says to her is like it's like day 2 of darkness, or
and on the screen, as you keep watching,
for quite a while now.
Yeah, it goes on as soon as you hit the winter solstice. It's dark where they are for, I'm not sure how many days, but quite a few days that they don't see light, or very little. And that changes. That's a whole different way of the world, right? So
seasonal affective disorder, it's a real thing.
Yeah. So there's definitely a connection with the weirdness of this episode, this season, and the weirdness of the very first episode.
Yeah,
and the Twin Peakness of it all. So
yeah, it's a little freaky. It's a little.
it is a
Definitely
little freaky. It's probably not. I'm not sure. It's not great, but it's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's
Yeah.
got me intrigued to watch it again. And
Yeah.
I like a lot of like the little things. I like the relationship with the little interactions with the father and son, with Hank and Pete Pryor.
Yeah.
Matt Damon and Star.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon. It's not Matt Damon.
I know, but it looks like a very young Matt Damon. I mean, if you go back and watch like Telling to Mr. Ripley, Matt Damon,
Yeah.
where he's like younger, thinner, the whole.
I think he'll be ultimately a hero in all this. I think.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I think
Maybe.
he's gonna.
And then
be-
there's a couple. There's a bunch of little things too. They said something about the water, and I think that becomes an issue in later episodes.
Yeah.
Like they can't drink the water, and there's a mine or something
Yes.
Yeah.
where there might be some water contamination and some
Yeah,
other things
that's
going on.
the big bad ugly company that's been destroying the
Right.
environment. Yeah.
Right. Then, of course, there's the question of what did we see like running around that research facility every once in a while?
Yeah.
It'd be like a flash of somebody running by.
Yes. Yeah.
Also more Twin Peaksy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Or Scooby Doo. I'm not really sure.
either or.
Scooby-Doo, sure.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. David Lynch was a huge Scooby Doo fan.
Scooby Doo fan.
Yeah.
Huge.
Huge Scooby Doo fan.
The group of kids on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they were all called the Scoobies.
The Scooby Gang.
Were they?
Yeah.
Sure.
Were they?
They called themselves the Scoobies. Yep.
Interesting. So yeah,
So-
it was good, and I'm intrigued,
good.
and I want to finish it up. Maybe if I have time, I'll try to get those 4 or 5 episodes in before the finale.
Yep. So let's recap. So
Okay.
let's just compare and contrast. So what's the best cop pairing in all of these?
No, that's easy. I mean,
Season
the
one.
first one's the best one.
Season one.
Right. See, how about the worst cop pairing?
Season 1. Season 2.
Season
Season
2.
two.
Yeah,
Season 2. Because they're not paired.
Well,
They're just
yeah.
they just
not
kind of
paired.
forced together.
right. They
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
connection. There's nothing going on there. So
Favorite
thing
of
is
the
missing.
4 season ones, episode ones.
Oh, season 1 easily.
Season 1. I think season 1.
Yeah. Second favorite?
Season 3.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Season 4 is third, and then
Yeah.
season 2 is
Season 2.
fourth.
Yeah.
I would agree with
And
that.
again, it's not that it's bad. It's just not, in my opinion, as good as the other
Yeah.
ones.
I agree.
Right.
I still think season 2 is a watch. It's just like it's just
I agree.
different. It's not as good as the other ones.
Season 2 is a bit of a train wreck. Maybe just watch it for the train wreck aspect of it all.
The one thing that I wonder is, HBO had this great show, Game of Thrones. I don't know if you heard of it.
Heard of
Never
it.
heard of it.
And the guy
Never
who
watched it.
wrote Game of Thrones, while a prolific author, not
Yep.
exactly a time-sensitive fellow.
No.
So there was gaps in between when stuff got released.
Yep.
I wonder if a similar situation happened here, where he did 2 shows, 14 and 15. The third year it didn't come out until 4 years later, and now this one has a co-writer, and it's coming out 5 years later. I wonder if he's not as prolific as the network would hope.
Interesting.
And they're hoping, we would like to do a 5th season next year, not 6 years from now, based on the time pattern, 4, 5, and
Yeah.
6 year hiatuses. I wonder if that's something that's building into this, and if the writing is going to be a little, I don't want to say copying, but a little tighter to the first season than to the second season.
I would have really enjoyed the 4 seasons as a whole more if there was a thread through.
Yeah, some character went through something. Yeah.
Some characters,
Yeah.
the storyline, like these recurring murders are all kind of
Yeah.
connected over a bunch of years and over
Somehow,
a bunch
yeah.
of places. Yeah. I would have really, really enjoyed that more. I hated that, not hated, but the second season it was come just out of left field.
Yep.
The third season has a distant connection, and the 4th season obviously does. It'd be nice if there was they didn't think of this. They didn't think about this.
Yeah.
This guy Nick didn't think about this. I think maybe originally, just you could have an anthology series that are just just separate stories that they're all murder cases, right? And that's probably where this started. Not thinking about how to make them all connect thematically. I think, except you got tragic cops is maybe the connection. So I in general I like the whole series,
Yeah.
and some seasons are better than others, and I'm hoping that this season 4 ends well. That I'll like it.
I was a little curious that if you see American Horror Story,
I've never
I
watched
haven't.
it.
Neither did I.
it's basically the same cast,
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
and they just play different roles every
Right.
time the anthology starts up. Where if you see the what's the one with Daniel Radcliffe and
Oh, yeah, the one we talked about.
we talked about it,
with
where
Joe.
it's the same 3 characters just going through time.
Right.
I'm a little not surprised, but it's curious if they had done that. Would this be, a different sort of show, a better show, something out of the ordinary, or not? To your point, there's no theme carrying it together. It's just
Thread.
Season 1 is totally independent. Season 2 is totally independent.
Thread, you mean?
Yeah.
Thread.
Where it's not like the Orson Welles had the Mercury players. There's no Mercury players here. It's just
No, there's not.
next man up. Who are we going to get to play the roles in here?
It would have been cool if there was like one person that was in
if something that continued, to your point, if somebody had continued through.
You mean kind of like how they did the White Lotus, where they had the Jennifer Coolidge character in the two?
Yeah.
So
right, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, overall, I enjoy it, and again, I this kind of gave me a taste for a rewatch. If it wasn't like that, there were so many other things out there and time, I would definitely go back and do a rewatch.
Yeah, and I certainly think that all 4 seasons are worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
and it's really well done. Nick Pizzolatto, he did a nice job. I mean, it's a little weird, but maybe he's a little weird. I don't know. But it's worth watching.
It harkens back to when HBO was the place to go to for great television.
Yeah.
Right. And now maybe not so much. All right. We did it again. Great theme tonight, gents. Another good theme. This was a good one.
Nice job, Mike.
Well done, Mike.
Every once in a while.
Your check is in the mail.
A blind squirrel gets a nut.
That's right. This has been What We Watch When We Drink on the Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. This will be out on a podcast that you can download in a few weeks, if not less. We will be back soon with another one, with another great theme that will come up from someone. Someone will come up with a great theme. And we will see you again next time.
We're going to be like Bullwinkle and Rocky. We're going to pull one out of a hat.
That's right.
Nothing up my sleeve.
Dartboard thrown. All right.
That's right.
All right, gents. All right.
And
cheers. Play us out.
Cheers.
All right, gents. Cheers.
Cheers.